contrary to popular belief, you can absolutely break into investment banking even if you go to a non-target school.
What was it like when you got the job and you called your mom and told her?
Well, I was in the bathroom and just like cleaning my bathroom. My mom was here in the apartment, and when the HR rep called me, like I couldn't talk. Like I just started crying. And so she heard me like, oh my God, I guess I said it like really loud. And she just like ran into the bathroom. She's like, are you okay? And I just gave her like a thumbs up because the lady was talking. So she just starts crying too. And that was like that is one of the most emotional moments I've had in my life, I promise you.
So why does everyone around you seem to think that it's impossible? I will dive into that in a second. Speaking from personal experience, I know for a fact that it is absolutely possible for non-target school students to break into investment banking. And I say this with total conviction because I personally know hundreds of non-target school students that have broken into investment banking, and not just at a no-name firm that you've never heard of, but even at tier 1 bulge bracket and elite boutique investment banks. So in this video, I'm going to help you tune out all the noise and self-doubt that you're probably currently experiencing. If you're feeling a lack of confidence right now, this video is for you. If you've been told by everyone that you're not going to make it, this video is for you. Or even if you've already tried a bunch of stuff to break in on your own and all you've gotten is one rejection after another, this video will give you the encouragement you need to keep going. So if you take what I'm about to say in these next 10 minutes or so to heart, I will help you remove all the mental trash and install a new winner's mentality, the same type that we see in every single one of our non-target school students who have successfully broken into investment banking. Speaking of which, if you're new here, I'm Sam, a former technology investment banker at Morgan Stanley. Today I run Wall Street Mastermind, where we've helped over 1,200 students who have collectively secured offers from every single bulge bracket and elite boutique investment bank on Wall Street. Now you might find this surprising, but 35% of our successful students actually come from non-target schools, and another 20% of our successful students come from semi-target schools. This means that over half of our successful students did not go to target schools. Okay, not only that, but if you look at the offers that our students have gotten from the top 50 investment banks on Wall Street, almost 30% of the elite boutique offers went to students that didn't attend target schools. At bulge bracket banks, that number increases to 56%, and at middle market banks, that number increases to 66%. So this is based on a very large and statistically significant sample size collected over multiple recruiting cycles. So trust me when I say this, you are going to want to hear the advice that I'm about to give you in the rest of this video. Now I'm going to give you my 5 best pieces of advice to break into investment banking as a non-target school student. Now this is the stuff that nobody tells you about, okay? But it's the secret sauce that separates the non-target school students who believe from the non-target school students who have no confidence and give up before they even try. I'm going to give you 5 perspectives that you've most likely never thought about before, and it's going to change how you look at this challenge that's in front of you. Of course, if after this video you want some more advice on the more tactical aspects of breaking into investment banking as a non-target school student, don't worry, I've got you covered for that as well. All right, watch until the end of this video and I'll show you where you can find the top 5 things you need to actually do as a non-target student to level the playing field and beat out your competition who attend much more prestigious target schools than you do. Because without understanding the things I'm about to talk about in this video first, none of the tactical stuff is going to help you anyway. Okay, with that said, let's dive into it. The first thing you need to understand is this: why are there so many people out there who try to tell you that if you go to a non-target school, you can pretty much forget about investment banking? Honestly speaking, I think most of the time, these people are not being malicious when they say this. They're simply telling you their version of the truth. As in, they don't personally know anyone around them who has broken into investment banking from a non-target school, so that shapes their worldview, right? Either one, they went to a target school themselves and everyone around them who breaks into investment banking is from the same target school that they went to, or 2, they went to a non-target school and nobody around them has gotten into investment banking, right? But just because they're not lying about what they know to be true doesn't mean that it has to be your truth. In fact, this is why it's super important to find ways to surround yourself with other non-target students who have successfully broken in. The non-target school students inside of our Wall Street Mastermind community don't usually have a lack of belief because they see all the other non-target school students around them who are successfully getting offers. But even if you can't join a community like Wall Street Mastermind, you can still go and find evidence of non-target school students who have succeeded to give yourself that same belief. For example, you can watch our case studies of all the non-target students that have broken into investment banking, which I will link to below this video. It's funny how the human mind works. We typically need to see that something is possible before we can achieve it ourselves. This is why for the longest time, no one could run a 4-minute mile. But as soon as one person ran a mile under 4 minutes, suddenly a bunch of athletes started doing the same thing. But okay, now that you know it's possible, I'm going to keep it real with you. The second second thing to keep in mind is that you should expect it to be hard. But wait a second, Sam, I thought you just told me that I can absolutely break in as a non-target school student. Yeah, I did say that, but I didn't say it was going to be easy. In fact, you should embrace the fact that it is hard, because every time you feel like what you're doing is hard, remind yourself that this is exactly why you are going to win. Because most of your competition out there, they're not going to be willing to do the hard things. But you, on the other hand, are willing to do it. That's what's going to set you apart, because you want to be exceptional, right? You want to work in a job that's going to make you a top 1% earner in the entire country. You want the exceptional pay where you're going to make 3 to 4 times what your buddies are going to make right out of college, right? You want the exceptional prestige that comes with working at a top investment bank. You want the exceptional exit opportunities. Exceptional people do exceptional things, which is also another way of saying exceptional people are willing to do the hard things that ordinary people are not willing to do. That's why they deserve to get exceptional outcomes, right? Otherwise, if it was easy, then everyone would be doing it already and it wouldn't be exceptional anymore. Plus, managing your expectations is important, because when people give up prematurely on something, it's usually because they had the wrong expectations going in. Think about it. If you attempt something that turns out to be much harder than you expected, you're a lot more likely to give up, right? But if you went into something with the expectation that it's going to be extremely hard and it turns out that it wasn't as bad as you thought, you would be much more likely to keep pushing forward, right? Now, you are coming from a non-target school. You are at a disadvantage. There's no doubt about it. You will have to work harder than your competition who go to target schools. And even when you do, you are probably going to experience multiple rejections along the way. It's not just going to be smooth sailing, okay? And at times, it's going to feel unfair that the target school students are getting offers so much more easily than you are. But hey, life's not fair, okay? And nobody's going to feel sorry for you if you think it's unfair. So expect it, suck it up, and understand that every no that you hear is just one step closer to the yes that you've been waiting for. And you really only need to hear yes from one firm. Okay. Oh, and by the way, if you're finding this video to be helpful, please like this video to let me know so that I can make more videos like this in the future. Or if you have a question about anything I'm saying, feel free to drop a comment below and I will try my best to get back to every single one of you. Okay, next, the third piece of advice that I want to give you is to know your why. Truly sit down and think about why it's important for you to break into investment banking. And I don't just mean like the surface level stuff, but like ask the why to the why. So like, you want to make a lot of money? Okay, but why is that important to you? You care a lot about having a prestigious job, but why is that important to you? You want to have the best exit opportunities, but why is that important to you? If your why is strong enough, like that's what's going to make it worth it for you to keep pushing through when the times get tough, right? If your why is weak, you will probably give up at the first sign of trouble. Whatever your answer is for why you want to work in investment banking, you should understand that your career is one of the most consequential things that will affect the rest of your life. I'm not trying to exaggerate or anything, but like as someone who's almost 40 years old at this point, I probably lived twice as long as most of you who are currently watching this video. And I can tell you right now that you only need 3 things in my experience to live a truly happy and fulfilling life. Number 1, you need to have good health, because without health, you really don't have anything. Number 2, you need to have good relationships with the people who are closest to you and that you truly care about. And number 3, you need to have a good career where you're doing fulfilling work and you're making good money to be able to provide the quality of life that you and your loved ones want to have, and you have an identity that you can be proud of, because let's be honest, so much of your identity is associated with what you do for work. This is why one of the first questions a stranger will always ask you when they first meet you is, so what do you do for work, right? And the thing is, all 3 of these things, whether it's health or relationships or your career, they affect each other. And it's very, very hard to be doing poorly in one area, such as your career, yet simultaneously be thriving in the other 2 areas, such as your health or your relationships. Like, it almost never happens in my experience. So if you truly understand how important your career is, then ask yourself, is it worth putting in the hard work now to overcome whatever obstacles that may be standing in your way currently? And this leads me to my 4th piece of advice, which is that nobody has ever regretted trying and failing, but people only ever regret not trying at all. All right, now zoom out for a second and pretend you're asking the 85-year-old version of yourself for advice. And the question is, what do you think you're more likely to regret? Not even attempting to achieve a goal that you once had because you were scared of failing, or having attempted it and given it your all and still failed. Now, every athlete will tell you if they truly know they've left it all out there on the field, they have no regrets even if they lose the game. And now for my 5th and final piece of advice, which is to remove the word can't from your vocabulary and instead learn to ask, how can I? It's a simple shift really, but if you constantly use the word can't, you are letting your self-limiting beliefs stop you from living up to your fullest potential. Every time you tell yourself you can't do something, ask yourself, is there someone else in the world who has done what you're trying to do with similar or perhaps even worse circumstances? For example, has there been anyone who has gotten into investment banking from an even worse school than the one you currently go to? Of course, the answer is probably yes. Has anyone who has a worse GPA than you gotten into investment banking? Of course, the answer is probably yes, right? Has anyone else who started even later in the investment banking recruiting process successfully broken into investment banking? Of course, the answer is yes, right? And so if those people did it, why can't you? Well, it's not that you can't, it's just that you haven't figured out how to yet, right? And so if you want to know how, as I promised at the beginning of this video, I'm going to show you how. All right, I created this other video where I break down the more tactical side of things when it comes to what you have to do as a non-target school student if you want to be successful with investment banking recruiting, because everything we've talked about so far is just working on fixing your mindset first, right? But obviously, in addition to the mindset stuff, which is really important, the tactical stuff also matters as well. So you should be able to click somewhere on the screen right now to go to this other video. But if for some reason that's not working, I'll drop a link down below in the description of this video as well so that you can check it out there. All right. Anyway, hopefully after watching this video, you now have the conviction to tune out the haters and keep pushing forward in pursuit of your dreams. All right. If you want to be our next non-target success story, like the hundreds of other non-target students that have come before you, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. Otherwise, if you found this video to be valuable, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button so that YouTube will show you our future videos as well. And as always, remember, nothing worthwhile comes easy and nothing is more important than your future. Keep grinding.